Let me guess, you're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and anywhere else someone has told you that you need to be in order to grow your business. Now, you're probably spending, if you're on every platform, you're probably spending hours every single week creating content. You could probably feel burnt out, and are they really showing results in your business, and is it actually getting the clients that you need? So here is the truth of what we're going to cover in this video. Being on every single platform actually hurts your business. And today I'm going to show you exactly what platform that you should be choosing for your business. And what I generally recommend is to pick one or two, maximum 3 platforms for you to really be focusing on so that you're not going to be a crazy burnt out mess. Welcome to the Fearless Marketing Show. I'm your host, Nicole Davidson. I am a marketing mentor, a marketing agency owner, a course creator, mum of 4, and I'm the founder here at the Fearless Collective. I'm here to help driven women just like you build online businesses, make more money, and really trying to design a life that you absolutely love. Now, today we're going to dive in to how to choose the right social media platform for your business without burning out and trying to be everywhere all at once, because nobody wants to do that. This episode is going to be for you, particularly if you're a service-based business owner, whether you're a coach, a consultant, a VA, a designer, or any other service provider, and you're feeling really overwhelmed by social media and you're really not sure or where you should be focusing your efforts. It can be really hard to know which is the best platform to use, and results vary from people to people, from business to business. So what we're going to be doing is really solving the myth today that you need to be on every single platform to succeed. And spoiler alert, you do not have to be on every single platform. It is so exhausting. And that is probably why you're not getting traction, because you're trying to do too much everywhere. I know as a mum, even just when I'm trying to do everything, I'm trying to be there for my kids. I'm trying to, make sure the house is clean. I'm making sure my clients are okay. I'm making sure my business is okay. When you're trying to be everywhere and trying to do everything, you generally don't do things overly well. And by the end of this episode, you are going to really know exactly what platform to focus on. And that's going to be based on your business, your ideal client, your strengths. There is no more guessing as to what you should be doing. So the very first thing that we are going to really look at is why being everywhere is actually killing your business growth. I have been on social media for a really long time. I have grown my business or been running my business since I think at least 2007, maybe the very beginning of 2008. So I remember growing my business way back when on Twitter. That is actually where I got my very first client from. And now there are that many social media platforms. It is so hard to choose. And every single marketing person is going to tell you to try and be everywhere, but it really doesn't help. So your content, when you're trying to post on every single platform, what happens, because you're trying to fit into the mold of every single platform, your content then becomes quite generic because you're rushing around trying to post on 5 different platforms. And because you're not kind of like taking into consideration the audience on each of those platforms, and you're just putting the exact same content out on each platform, it means that you're really not talking to your client correctly. And it's really hard to build momentum on platforms when you're trying to be everywhere. And sometimes what can happen is, because you're trying to be everywhere, you might post sporadically, or it may be that the algorithm itself decides that it's not going to favor you because you're really not trying to work into their actual platform themselves. So I've seen this a lot when people are really trying to use TikTok and then Instagram. So there is absolutely a crossover, but it does make it really hard when you are trying to. TikTok is very different in terms of the audience to Instagram itself. So you actually really do yourself a disservice when you're trying to promote, or every single post that you do goes out to both TikTok and Instagram. I know that for myself, I generally post a lot more on TikTok at the moment, and then I post the ones that I know will work or that I think will work. I post them onto Instagram as well. It is just really hard, and then what will work on TikTok is not going to work on LinkedIn or whatever it is, whatever platform that you want to be using. And then what happens is then, because it is such a time suck that you can't, it's just you burn out before you really start to see any results. And then what happens is your ideal doesn't really know where to actually find you because you're scattered around everywhere. So my key takeaway from this is it's actually better to dominate one or two platforms rather than be like mediocre or boring across 5. And I have been there, and look, I'm not gonna lie, I probably do attempt to probably be on too many platforms myself. I generally at the moment do focus primarily on TikTok and then Instagram are the two that I generally use. Other than that, YouTube and Facebook would be like the next one down, although I am trying to reverse that a little bit. So with the podcast, that will now then be going onto YouTube as well. But that one's a little bit easier to do, where we're creating the video once and it is going out to both of them. The only time that's probably not going to work is when I'm, say for example, I want to do a screen recording. It's not going to really translate over into the podcast platform unless I do upload the video with it, but it generally speaking, like, that's not going to work. So if I do videos like that, it'll primarily be for YouTube. So you can see, like, just even listening to what I'm talking about, trying to be everywhere is actually so hard, and it can be very overwhelming. And I also don't know about you, but I am generally focused on working with my clients rather than trying to be everywhere on social media. I don't want you to go and delete any of your platforms. That would be very silly. But what I would like you to do is if you're currently on like 5 different platforms, don't delete them. But what I would love you to do is to pick 1 or 2 to focus your energy on over the next 90 days. And what I want you to do is keep the others in the background, maybe with just some minimal content while you build momentum on the other platform. Now, point number 2 is what I want you to ask yourself before you can decide what platform is going to be best for you. I have 4 questions that I generally will ask my clients before they choose what platform is going to be best for them. Now, a lot of the time people do come to our agency and they already have the platform set up, but they will come to me and say, look, this isn't working. Is this the right platform for me? What do you think I should do? Now, question 1 is, where does your ideal client actually spend time? This has nothing to do with where you want to hang out. It is about where your clients are actively looking for solutions. So for example, as service-based business owners, I am on TikTok because I am trying to grow this community. But what I don't generally use it for is trying to get business to business customers in terms of my service base. So my website agency, I do talk a little bit about our services and marketing on there, but it is not necessarily to get clients. It is more around my own authority, but I generally don't use it to actually engage with potential customers. If I'm looking for potential customers for our website design agency, I'm going to look for places where business-to-business service providers are looking. If I was a local business, is Facebook the best way to be? Or would I be like going more onto, say, a Google My Business profile and really focusing my time on that? If I was a corporate consultant coach, I would generally go down the road of LinkedIn, because that's where people who are in that industry, corporates, generally tend to hang out on LinkedIn. Whereas creative services, say photographers, designers, stylists, they would generally be on Instagram. So you can see what I mean by different people will sit on different platforms for different reasons. I myself go onto Facebook for just more personal reasons, connecting with friends, things like that. My Facebook usage has decreased dramatically. I generally don't use it all that much, apart from Messenger and to just check in and see. But quite often, even now, like my friends' posts like come up 4 days later, so it's really not even worth being on there. If I was to be looking for an actual business person, I generally have a two-step process. I will go to Google and have a look. Then I generally jump onto their Instagram and I will have a look and see like if there's someone, the style of their work, if there's someone that, that I like their personality, that kind of thing. Particularly if I was looking for a business coach, that's what I would generally do. Or I would be looking on Instagram or TikTok for that. So remember that this is not about you. It is where they would like to hang out and not about you. And I mean that in the most kindest way possible. Now, question number 2, what type of content do you actually enjoy? If you hate being on camera, TikTok is not going to be for you. If you love writing, then LinkedIn is probably something that you're going to love. If you're more of a visual place, Instagram, Pinterest would also be quite good for you. For myself, I have really grown to love TikTok. When I initially jumped onto the camera, I absolutely hated it. One of the reasons why I started a podcast is because I'm generally better at speaking rather than being on video. So I am actually putting myself really out there now by trying to be on video a lot more. But because I've been on TikTok and learning like how to be on camera, that is something that I'm starting to be more comfortable with. And something I'm actually starting to really enjoy. So I generally tend to actually go that way now, which if you told me that 6 months ago, then that's definitely not a thing that I would have been doing. And I would have really stuck to more like videos on Instagram or like, carousel posts and photos. It is really important to pick like a platform that's going to give you energy rather than like draining the life out of you, because consistency, when you're enjoying it, it's going to help you be consistent, and that's what's really going to then give you that result over the long term. Number 3, what is your natural communication style? Again, I'm a talker rather than a writer, although I can do both. I generally am a lot better at talking, which all of my family and friends will happily attest to. So if you're someone that likes writing, more like quick tips, then like Instagram carousels are going to be really good for you. If you love giving really short, snappy tips, then maybe Instagram Reels or TikTok are going to be the way that you want. If you prefer longer articles, like you're actually really better at blogging, then LinkedIn articles are going to be for you. If you're looking for more like visuals, then Instagram, Pinterest. It really comes down to how you communicate. Some people love to talk, some people are listeners, some people communicate, like through their designs, and some people communicate through writing. It really just depends on how you want to do that. If you're more of a one-on-one person, even using Instagram or Facebook, and Facebook groups are a really good way to do that. Finally, the last question, the 4th question, is what are your business goals for the next 6 to 12 months? What I mean by that is, are you looking to build authority and be more of a thought leader in your industry? Are you looking more to build your community? Are you really looking to be discovered by like new people? Are you looking to really be converting like the leads a lot quicker? Or you could be a combination of all of those things. That's completely fine too. If you're looking to build authority, then probably I would say LinkedIn, TikTok or Instagram would be the 3 that I would look at. If you're really looking to build authority, I would probably go with like LinkedIn and YouTube. They would be the 2 that I would probably look at for that. If you're looking to really generate more of a warmer community, then I would look at maybe a Facebook group or Instagram. If I'm looking to be found by new people, then I would also look at going to TikTok, Pinterest, and potentially YouTube. So those 3 platforms are searchable platforms, so they're a lot easier for people to find you. So I would generally go for those. TikTok has a really great FYP page, which is called For You page. So it really goes off like the kind of things that you like. So that's going to help people find you because they're going to be looking, watching videos that they're enjoying. And so you're automatically going to start coming up. Well, not automatically. You have to create the content that they're going to like. But you generally have a lot better of a chance coming up. YouTube's great because it is a lot like Google in that you can search questions, topics, things that are interest. So it is a really good way to get discovered by new people. And like I said, it's a really great way to then build your authority. Okay, so we have covered off 2 points already. So let's jump into point 3. Let's break down each of the platforms and what they actually are able to deliver and help when you're a service-based business. So Instagram, let's talk about that one. That is one of the most popular ones and one of the ones that I always see people trying to grow on. It has become a lot harder in the past few years because there is a lot of noise on there. But it is best for building relationships, community, and trust. The type of content that they have on there would be reels. So you're like either face to camera, or you could like record yourself like doing something behind the scenes, or you could like do funny transition reels. Then they have the stories, which are those short 24-hour ones that you can see up the top in the top circles. Or when you're posting content, you can either do photos or carousels where you can swipe. You've probably seen those on Instagram yourself where you swipe through with some tips. And this is really ideal for coaches, consultants, creatives. I would say that the engagement is quite high, but you do need to show up all the time. The other thing to be mindful of is, like I said, it has got a lot more competition on there at the moment. It does, you kind of have to be a little bit different on there to really start showing up and like being, The other thing to notice is that there are a lot of business owners on there. So if you're really targeting business owners, you can start like going through and finding people that you really like, or people that you might potentially like to work with, and you can start really engaging with them on there too. Making comments, talking to them, maybe sending them a DM. Don't do a salesy DM though. I would highly recommend just having a chat with them, as if you were just talking to a friend. I do think that the time commitment for Instagram is moderate to high. The good thing with Instagram and Facebook is that you can cross promote. So when you're kind of creating content on one, it can go to the other using the Meta business suite. The second platform is Facebook. Obviously, this has been really popular for a long time. I have a really love-hate relationship with Facebook. I'm finding very much that the Facebook pages, unless you're running ads, are pretty much like non-existent. That could just be my page, but I generally am finding that even like when I'm like in the news feed, a lot of the things that are coming up are probably not even really from businesses anymore. Quite a lot of the times it's just things that I don't even follow coming up. So I get really frustrated by that. And then obviously I'm quite usually on there just to see my friends do their posts. And even that's like not working. The one thing that I do use on there on Facebook for is the group option. I actually go into the group tab up the top when I'm on my desktop, and I generally will use that and then try and engage in a few of the business groups that I've like quite relevant for me. In terms of content types, the posts, videos, live streams, and the groups are quite good. Like I said before, the Instagram and Facebook you can cross promote, and it doesn't matter whether you're creating Facebook or whether you're creating it on Instagram, you can like send it between the two. I do find that really handy because you're not like once you're on kind of one, you may as well be on both. I do think it is more ideal for like local service providers, maybe like membership creators if you're like doing a group, or really connecting with other people in the groups. It is quite community driven, where there's like a lot of like groups that you can jump in and people are talking and you can comment. Some of them like can be nice, some of them not so nice. I do find that the time commitment for Facebook's pretty good. I have actually had a fair bit of, in terms of results, being in business groups, getting clients from there, particularly for our design marketing agency. But even just like jumping on there and like sharing advice has kept my name out there. I know that I spoke to another website designer the other day and she was like, oh yeah, I've seen you around. You've been around for a long time. And I was like, yes, I have. But that was really nice that they, knew who I was and that they really admired my work. The next one would be LinkedIn. It is best for business to business services or like corporate, really about, I guess employment. So really talking to each other from like one corporate role to another. It is, however, really good at authority building and thought leadership. So the content types on there are more like articles or posts, so like written posts. You can still do like photos and videos and things like that, but I generally think that these ones kind of work a little bit better. As I said, it is really ideal for business coaches, consultants, corporate trainers, business service providers. It is actually a really good one for design agencies. There are a lot of different, particularly if you're targeting more, so for us, one of our target markets are financial services, so financial advisors, bookkeepers, accountants, they are all on there. So that is a really good way for us to target that particular industry. Whereas for me, if I want to be targeting another one of our industries that we work with are tradies, they're generally more on Facebook. So in terms of that's why we kind of like pick between the two. But yeah, I do find LinkedIn works only really for business to business, rather than if you're like, if you're a coach and you're really trying to go for more like individuals. The one thing that I will say around LinkedIn, it is generally a little bit less competitive. It is kind of a forgotten about social media platform. They are really trying to grow that at the moment. They're really trying to promote people being on there. It's definitely falling short at the moment. A lot of people will have a profile, but they're not actively on there using it as well. So, but it is a really great way to connect with a professional audience looking for solutions. So I would say that the time commitment to that is low to moderate. I've honestly just been jumping onto AI and getting it to help generate something that I can post. Obviously I edit it because I hate that AI doesn't sound like me. As much as you can get it to sound like you're pretty close, I do find that's hard. But yeah, in terms of the time commitment, I think that from the results that you get, it is actually a pretty good ratio from the time commitment to the results that you can see on there. Now, TikTok is probably one of my personal favorites at the moment. I am loving it. It is really best for, like I said before, finding and reaching new audiences and fast. It is short form video, although you can create videos up to 10 minutes at this stage. This is November 2025. So up until now, you can create like the shorter 15, 60 seconds up to like sort of 10 minutes. And the short form video can be a mix of like trends that are happening on TikTok. You could do like vlogging, so you can do like behind the scenes. You could jump on and do face-to-face, kind of like what I'm doing now, but on TikTok. I do that a lot. For example, I did a video the other day and I was just talking about whether Squarespace is good for SEO, which I don't think that it is, but I did do a really quick video on why I don't like Squarespace for SEO. I did another video, actually one day, I think I went viral the other day. It was like 60,000 views or something like that. Although that's not really viral when you're looking at like a lot of other people, but for my little account, it was definitely viral. So I literally jumped on and did a stupid video about Coles home delivery. Turns out everyone has a very similar problem to me. So that was had a lot of comments. There is the potential to go viral on there, but it does require you to be on the app to really understand the trends that are happening on there. Like I said before, you can mix some of your videos from TikTok onto Instagram. My biggest thing in terms of that is that both of them like you to use the in-app editor. So when you generally edit outside of both of the apps, I generally find that they don't go as well as if I've used the in-app editing software. So that can sometimes be hard because then, if you feel like you're having to create it 2 times, but generally I will just do, if I'm like wanting something to go quite well and it's important, I keep it on TikTok, and then the shorter videos I will put on Instagram as a reel, or the fun ones that I do. The time commitment though is moderate to high. I would say that you do need to post a reasonable amount to actually start seeing any kind of results on TikTok, whereas I think Instagram you'll probably post a little bit less. Now, Pinterest is another one. Pinterest is quite good for SEO, building backlinks to your website and creating evergreen traffic to your site. What happens is you generally would create an image or a pin that is going to link to your blog post or your opt-ins. So a lot of people will design like a really nice graphic and have that linking over to their opt-ins. It is really great for that. I have always found that it's just a lot of time for me to be doing, and I'm honestly not on there. And I don't know really whether my target market is on there all that much. It is more of a long-term strategy. So the more pins that you have and the more links that you create to your website, that works quite well. It's not something that you're going to see really fast results from. So in terms of the time commitment, once you set it up, it is pretty good, particularly like if you're creating, say, like you have a blog or anything like that and you're creating like an image, you can kind of like quickly go on and like pin that over to your Pinterest. However, I actually find it quite time consuming. So, but a lot of people do say that it's quite a low time commitment. But yeah, look, I'm probably not the best person to ask around Pinterest because I just, it's not one that like I really focus on. YouTube is the final one. It is amazing for long-term SEO, long-term visibility, authority building, and I guess creating evergreen content. Obviously the content type is video, although they do have YouTube shorts, which are like really short, quick videos, very similar to Instagram Reels and TikTok. Again, you could like create the one video and have a really short video and have it go from onto all three platforms. But for me, I generally would say that YouTube, like an actual general, your standard YouTube video is going to work better than doing the short form snapshot videos that they have. I would say this is ideal for educators and like coaches or anyone that is going to be teaching a bit more of like complex topics where you need that longer form video. You do have to be pretty comfortable to be on video. I don't think that like just creating a faceless YouTube video, a YouTube account is going to be the best thing. So you do have to slowly get used to it. It is really high in terms of time commitment. It is quite slow to build as well, but it can have a really incredible ROI like long term. But it does take time to really build up the videos that you're creating and getting them onto the platform. And when I say the time commitment is high, when you're creating videos, there are so many videos on there now, so you generally do have to have like pretty good lighting. You generally have to be really comfortable on camera, and even then just having that software to edit the videos down. I personally use Camtasia, but there's heaps of other ones out there. I just have had Camtasia for a long time, and I really don't have time to like learn a brand new video editing platform. So that's what I use for all of my videos there, and also editing it down, like learning how to be comfortable on camera, learning how to pause if you make a mistake. All those things come with time. So it is quite a really high learning curve when you jump on. So now we've covered over all of those. What I would love you to do is really write down, I guess, answer those 4 questions. Try and work out what ones you think are going to be important, and I want you to pick a primary platform and then potentially a secondary platform that's really going to complement it. So you could pick, say, Instagram and Pinterest, or you could do like LinkedIn and YouTube, or you could do Instagram and TikTok. Here is one of the big things that I see when anyone is choosing a platform, and what they get wrong is they will pick a platform, they will post for 3 weeks, they don't see any immediate results, and then they will switch to like a different platform, and they then never get traction. And then what happens is they might go, in a month's time. I'm very guilty of this, but just to let everyone know, is I will start posting, and then like a month or so later, I'm like, oh, that's right, I was meant to do that. And then, I'll post for 3 weeks again, and I really never gained a lot of traction. I would say for TikTok, I've been consistently posting now for quite some time, particularly over the last 6 months. And I would say that I'm really starting to gain traction. It is obviously still a really big work in progress. There are some videos that do really well, other videos that like flop, other videos that just could do like moderately well, but I slowly building over time. Even in terms of the follower count, when I very first started, it was just like really very, very minimal as I was doing it. It felt like I was almost just posting to nobody. But then as I've been doing it now for that 6 months, the follower count is just going up every single week. So it is really important to like stick with it. For example, when we do search engine optimization for our clients, I always say to them that SEO is a long-term game. It is not something that you're going to like start seeing immediate results, although you will start seeing some like shorter term results. It is definitely something that as you're working on it over time, it just improves and gets better and better and better over time. So I would always say to at least put 90 days of consistent effort, but honestly, it needs to be longer than that. But if you can't commit to at least doing 90 days on a platform, then you're really not going to be seeing results anyway, and you honestly may as well not be doing it. And the best thing with social media is that you could actually plan out 90 days worth of content, and then you could create it now, and it's going to then run from here into into February in 2026. The very final mistake that I see service providers making is treating social media like it is a massive billboard instead of an actual conversation with people. And again, I have been guilty of this. You can definitely promote your offers. Absolutely, that is really important to do. But you don't want that to be the only thing that you're promoting. Social media is a conversation between people. It's like talking to a friend, right? You want to be, even though you're going out to many, you want to really talk to the person as if you're talking to just like one person here. So even when I'm recording this video, it's like I'm actually talking to a friend. It's not like I'm talking to, hundreds of people. So that is something that I really think it's very important for people on social media to remember. You're trying to start conversations, you're trying to build relationships, and you really are trying to demonstrate your expertise rather than just trying to sell every single thing that you have to offer in the fastest amount of time. The best way to show people like what you do is a mix of like different posts. So behind the scenes content, authority content where you're really talking about what you do, showing maybe a little bit of personal stuff in there, although I would probably recommend not to do that too much depending on the type of business that you have, but really helping people see what's possible by working with you. So what does this look like in practice? What I don't want you to do is to post your offer and disappear. Again, I've done that. I promise you that it doesn't work. What I want you to do is to be sharing valuable content. I want you to reply to your comments. You can be sitting on the lounge at home at night and reply to your comments. You can be sitting at home on your lounge at home starting some just conversations. You don't have to have conversations with hundreds of people. You just want to do it with 1 or 2 people per day. And again, don't go in selling your products immediately. Just talk to them and go, hi, how's your business going? Like, you don't have to, don't be in there and like just drop your link into everything that you do straight away. Again, don't only talk about your services. I want you to roughly have around 80% of educational content or behind the scenes content, and then maybe 20% of promotional. I think Gary Vee has his book, it's called Jab, 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 Right Hook, where he talks about that it's very much that kind of topic where you're, giving them info, helpful info, you're helping them with the jabs, and then the right hook is when you actually come in and you might do a bit of selling. Obviously, that's a very, very top level overview of what he does. The other thing I don't want you to do is waiting for people to come to you. People don't just come to you, and if they do, it's rare, and it's generally once you're like further along in business. So start actively engaging with ideal clients, follow their accounts, comment on their posts, talk to them. Like, you don't have to be desperate, just like a little comment on their post and go, oh, that looks great, love your work, or whatever it is. That starts to build up like reciprocity. So stop treating your social media like it's a networking event. It is the worst way to go about social media. Now, I understand that can be quite time consuming. This is why I want you to only focus on 1 or 2 platforms, because if you do try and do this on all of them, you're going to go nowhere. Okay, we are at the end of pretty much at the end of the episode. So a few key takeaways from this episode on choosing where to post for or what platforms to use for social media. Number 1, stop trying to be everywhere and be for everyone. You pick 1 or 2 platforms where your ideal clients are going to hang out, and you can start showing up consistently on those 2 platforms. Number 2, remember to answer the 4 questions. Where are my clients? What content do I enjoy making? What is my communication style? And what are your business goals? And your answers are going to really help you reveal that perfect platform. The other one is to try and be consistent with the 90 days at least, at a minimum. The next one is then to make sure that you're treating social media like a conversation and not a billboard. I want you to focus on engagement and relationships, not actually getting customers right at this point, because the customers will then flow on after you start building relationships. But for your next step, what I want you to do is open your notes app or whatever platform it is that you like taking notes, and I want you to answer those 4 questions. Where does my ideal client spend their time? What content do I enjoy creating? What's my communication style? And what are my business goals? Pick your platform. Commit to it to 90 days. Put it all in your calendar. Get AI to help you create the content if you need to do that. And I want you to make it a non-negotiable. From that, I want you to then build out another 90 days and see how you go. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels on social media and you want to help create a great strategy for your service-based business, I would absolutely love you to come over to the Fearless Collective membership. It's a monthly marketing membership that has workshops, templates, a really supportive community of women. I have just started it, so it is quite small at the moment. Head over to thefearlesscollective.co to learn more. And if you've loved this episode, then make sure you're following along on Instagram at thefearlesscollective.co. And I'm sharing marketing tips and behind the scenes every single day. And like I said before, I'm also on TikTok, and you can find me over there at the Fearless Collective. Until next time, stay bold, stay kind, and keep being your fearless self.